you Edward Alfred and you Peter Alfred on the 26th day of August 1975 at Fulchester robbed Simon Lowenthal of 8 diamond necklaces, 78 diamond rings, 14 unmounted diamonds and 48 watches, together valued at £21,800. Edward Alfred, how say you? Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Peter Alfred, how say you? Are you guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
A further charge with conspiracy, and the particulars are that you, Edward Alfred, and you, Peter Alfred, in August 1975 conspired together to rob Simon Lowenthal. Edward Alfred, how say you? Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Peter Alfred, how say you? Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
One of the men in the dock admits his guilt in respect of the robbery. He says he was one of the 2 men who entered the shop. Well, he was certainly the man who attempted to smuggle the proceeds of the robbery out of the country in a lorry which he regularly drove to a town in Holland. But he denies conspiring with his brother. You may wonder why this charge of conspiracy appears at all. You may think that if 2 men enter a shop with the purpose of robbing, then there must necessarily have been a conspiracy between them. But Peter Alfred denies conspiring with his brother. The prosecution will show not only that he did conspire with his brother, but that in his confession, Peter Alfred claims to have played a much greater role in this robbery than in fact he did play. That the leading role, the major, the violent role, was played by Edward Alfred, who stands before you here pleading not guilty.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Simon Lowenthal?
Yes.
And you are a partner in Holmes & Holmes of Fulchester Limited, a jewellery shop in Chapel Street?
Yes.
Would you, Mr. Would you tell the court, please, what happened on Tuesday, the 26th of August last?
Well, I was robbed. 2 men, they came into the shop. One of them waved a gun, frightened everybody. The other one, he emptied the cabinets and he put all the contents into a bag.
Yes, and what time was this?
It was 4 o'clock. I know it was 4 o'clock because I generally have a cup of tea at 4 o'clock.
And what was stolen was worth how much?
Well, to me, £21,800.
Did you see any of these goods again?
Yes, the police got it. Well, nearly everything. I identified it. Just some rings and some watches. I've not seen those again.
Could the witness be shown these items, please? Exhibits 1 and 2 for the prosecution, Your Honour.
Yes, yes, that's it. That's all there.
The 2 men who entered your shop, could you recognise them?
No. You see, they wore these helmets over their heads like they have for motorcycles.
Could you describe these helmets?
Well, they looked something like spacemen. They had helmets over their heads with these things that like a knight in armour.
A visor?
Yes, I couldn't think of the word. Right, a visor. These visors, they were they had a hole that you could just see through, but the actual visor was a sort of a darkish colour, something like sunglasses.
But could you see anything of the face inside the helmet through these darkened visors?
The face? No. Shadows. Shadows is all you see behind these.
What colour were the helmets themselves?
Oh, they were white.
Both?
Yes.
I'd like the helmets to be shown, please. Exhibit 3, Your Honour. This helmet. Is this helmet a kind that you refer to?
Oh, yes, that's it exactly.
Yes, sir. Were the helmets worn by the 2 men identical?
Oh, yes, they were the same.
Thank you. So these helmets with their smoky tinted visors prevented you from seeing either face, but could you describe the physique of the 2 men?
Oh, yes. Which one do you want me to describe?
Well, first the one who had the gun.
Well, he was solid, thick chap. He had broad-shouldered. He had thick hands. I'd say he'd take a size P in rings. He was the one who told everybody what to do and what not to do. He was the one with the gun.
And the other one?
Well, he was quite different. He was, I'd say, 2 stone less, at least. He was quicker, more of a boy the way he moved. He was the one who put all the things into the bag.
You say he was more like a boy.
Well, he was younger than the other chap.
You could tell that, could you, even though you couldn't see his face?
Well, yes, by the build, it was... And the way he moved, he was quick.
How were they dressed?
Well, the one with the gun, he had the leather jacket.
What colour was it?
Well, I'd say it was a sort of a brown, a dark brown.
Yes, and this really is very important, Mr. Lowenthal. Is there anything else that you can remember about this jacket?
Well, yes, it seemed to have pockets all over everywhere. Pockets here, and large pockets there, and a belt, I think. More than that, I can't remember. But it was an expensive piece of hide, I'll tell you that.
Are you a judge of these things, Mr. Lowenthal?
Well, I'm a jeweller, but...
Could the witness be shown this jacket? Exhibit number 4, I believe, yes. Is this the jacket you described?
Well,
Is it? Is it the jacket?
it's the kind of jacket. It's the same, I'll say no more, but it's off the peg. That's 80 pounds off the peg, I'll tell you that.
The other man, what was he wearing?
Well, he was wearing this denim, blue denim jeans, and like the blouse of the old battle dress. And with it, he had pumps on the feet.
Pumps?
Yes, athletic shoes
yes.
with stripes on them.
Thank you. Could you describe what took place when these two men entered your shop?
Well, they walked in. As I said, it was about 4 o'clock. Immediately, I knew there was something funny. I mean, these two chaps coming into the shop with the helmets. Even before he waved the gun, I knew. Well, one of them, I told everybody immediately to do what he says. One of the chaps, he told everybody to lie down on the floor, but not to me.
What did he tell you to do?
Well, he pushed me at the back of the shop. We have a little room there. That's where I keep the safe. All this time, the younger chap, he was putting things into the bag. I could see him through the door.
Oh, is that the door to the back room?
Yes. The big chap, the one with the gun, he held the door open. He asked me to... Well, he told me to open the safe. I told him I didn't have the keys. Then he waved the gun. He said he'd use it, something like that.
Do you remember his voice? Was it distinctive in any way?
Oh, you mean the accent, the Liverpool accent?
Ah, the man with the gun had a Liverpool accent, did he?
Well, they both had Liverpool accents.
You heard both of them speak?
Oh, certainly, yes.
But this man with the leather jacket, let's continue with him for a moment. He's the gunman now. When he threatened you, did you recognize this accent immediately?
They had a Liverpool accent.
And when he threatened you, what did you reply?
Well, I told him I didn't have the keys.
Was that true?
Certainly it was true.
How was that?
Well, I don't keep the keys with me. The idea of a safe is that it's safe. You keep the keys away as far as possible. I mean, the further away the keys, the better the safe.
Right, but what happens when you want to open the safe?
Well, do you mind if I don't tell you this?
Oh, no, not at all.
Well, it's not the sort of thing for everybody
No,
to
the
know.
point is that you didn't have the keys and you told the man with the gun that you didn't.
Yes.
What did he do then?
Well, he hit me.
Once or more than once?
Well, he kicked me more than once. He was a solid chap, and he kicked his weight.
What happened then?
Well, it hurt. I fell on the floor. I was stunned, you see. I was dazed. I was looking for my glasses, you see. I think they were knocked off in all this melee. And he kicked me, as I said, 2 or 3 times.
Yes, these kicks now, were they severe?
Yes, as I said, he was a heavily built chap. He kicked his weight.
Whereabouts did he kick you? I mean, whereabouts on the body?
Well, he kicked me here, on the side, and in the stomach here. It made me sick.
Sick? You mean you vomited?
Yes, I must have rolled over. I was quite sick. I thought that kicking had nearly killed me. I couldn't breathe, and the pain. Even now, my digestion is not what it was. I mean, to eat at all now, I have pain. Then the bell rang.
What bell was that?
Well, we have an alarm, a burglar alarm. My young assistant, he had the presence of mind to turn the alarm bell on. I thought that was very brave of him to do that. On the other hand, I thought thought, the fool, now I'll be shot. I mean, the man with the gun, I had no illusions.
Oh, you thought he was disposed to use it, did you?
I'm damn certain he was disposed to use it. But then the other chap, the younger chap, he came into the back of the shop. That's when I heard him speak.
Yes, what did he say?
Well, he seemed very eager to leave, because at that time the engine of a car had started just outside the shop. You could hear the revving of the engine. You could hear this over the bell. And I think they probably thought that whoever was outside would leave without them.
Thank you, Mr. Lowenthal.
It's the voices of the two men, Mr. Lowenthal. You said they had Liverpool accents. You are familiar with Liverpool, are you? Have you lived there?
No.
No.
Well, I've not lived there, but I know the accent. Everybody does. I mean, the Beatles.
Yes, at what stage did you hear these two men speak? When they first came in?
Yes, when they came in, one of them shouted. He shouted for everybody to lie on the floor.
Yes, he shouted?
Yes.
So what else did he say?
Well, he said he'd blow my something head off. He used an obscenity there.
Did you say that quietly? And was he still shouting?
Oh, no, he was shouting all the time.
Did you hear the other man speak?
Yes, when he came into the shop, the back of the shop, I mean.
Yes, that was after the bell had started to ring.
That's right.
And you say he too had a Liverpool accent?
Yes.
Did they have a long discussion, or was it a rapid exchange?
Well, it was rapid. It was rather quick.
And while they were speaking, did they remove the helmets that they were wearing? The helmets that covered the whole of their faces?
No, they didn't.
Didn't these helmets also cover their mouths?
Yes, I said they covered all that part of the face.
Do you mean to say that these helmets that covered all of their faces, including their mouths, had no effect at all on the sound of their voices?
Well, yes, to some extent.
Well, to what extent? What effect did they have?
Well, it was sort of, right, muffled.
Muffled?
Well, but I heard them speak.
And in your dazed and sickened condition, in the midst of that noise and confusion, you could pinpoint the town of origin of two voices, muffled, as you describe it, by these helmets. Well, I think that's an astonishing ability, don't you?
They both had the Liverpool accent.
Yes, the leather jacket. What colour did you say that was?
Look, may I protest? I mean, I've been robbed. Now I'm being treated as if I'm a criminal, I'm a liar.
Mr. Lowenthal, I realise this is not very pleasant for you, but I'm afraid it is necessary. You must answer counsel's questions.
Thank you, Your Honour. Oh, Mr. Lowenthal, what about the jacket? No, don't look at it now, Mr. Lowenthal. Don't tell us what you see now, but tell us what you remember.
Well, I said it was a brown, a kind of a dark brown.
Yes. You said some kind of dark brown. Yet I would say that that jacket is a maroon jacket.
Well, look, the quality is in the leather, not in the dye. I don't know anything about colours, but I know about quality.
But when it is a matter of identification, the colour matters a great deal. And colour, you say, you don't know about. That jacket, as I think you suggested, is a ready-made jacket.
Yes, I
Yes,
would
you
say
are
so.
right. Belongs to Edward Alfred. It is a fashionable style. There are no doubt thousands more like it, worn by thousands of other men. Can you look at it, Mr. Lowenthal, and say, that was the jacket that I saw in my shop, worn by the man who robbed me?
Well, I've already said I was careful to say. I wouldn't go that far.
No, you were very wise, Mr. Lowenthal. I'm sure any reasonable man would share your reservations. But unfortunately for the prosecution members of the jury, that is the best evidence of identification that can be offered against Edward Alfred. This and the recollection of a touch of Liverpool in a voice muffled by these all-enveloping helmets. I've no need to detain you any longer, Mr. Lowenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Lowenthal. You may leave the witness box.
And what did you do, Inspector, on the 28th of August last?
I travelled from Fulchester to Harwich Central Police Station, where I saw the accused, Peter Alfred. I showed him items of jewellery, and having first cautioned him, I said, I understand these items of jewellery were found in a lorry which you were driving into Southwall Dock number 5. He replied, so they tell me.
Did Peter Alfred make any statement at that time when you interviewed him at Harwich?
Peter Alfred made no statement of any kind, sir, until the 4th of September, at which time he was in custody, on remand, and he then made and signed the statement which has been read out to the court.
Yes, in which he confessed to taking part in the robbery and to striking and kicking Mr. Lowenthal, yes. Now, you say this statement was made on the 4th of September.
Yes.
When did you arrest Edward Alfred?
On the 3rd of September, sir.
The day before.
Yes, sir.
Did you tell Peter Alfred that you'd arrested his brother?
I did.
What was his response?
He made no response, not until the following day.
What did he do then?
He let it be known that he wished to make a statement, sir. I interviewed him, and he said, it's got nothing to do with Eddie. I know, because I was there, and Eddie wasn't. I asked him if he meant at Holmes and Holmes, and he said, yes, I'm the bastard you're looking for, not Eddie. It's got nothing to do with him.
I see. Now, could you describe the events which led up to the arrest of Edward Alfred?
Well, it was to do with a line of inquiries to do with the helmets. I had appealed for information to motorcycle and motorcycle accessory dealers in the northwest of England, and the appeal was put out on the police broadcast on the local television.
Was there a response to this broadcast?
Yes, sir. A Liverpool motorcycle dealer called Harold Bendick came forward, and he told me he'd sold 2 full-face Straydale-type helmets to a man fitting the description of one of the men at Holmes and Holmes.
Did he give you a good description of this man?
He did. He gave me a good description of the elder brother of the man then in custody. As a result, I interviewed Edward Alfred.
Had you met him previously in the course of your inquiries?
Yes, sir.
And did this Mr. Bendick subsequently identify the accused?
Yes, sir, in my presence at an identification parade. I then arrested and cautioned Edward Alfred.
Did he say anything to you?
Yes, sir. He said, this is ridiculous. You've just got it in for us. Why don't you arrest me mum and dad as well?
Did Edward Alfred admit buying 2 helmets from this motorcycle dealer?
I asked him if he had, sir, and he said, yes. Is that illegal?
Did he offer any explanation as to why he'd bought them?
He said, I bought them for a present. I asked him who for, and he replied, our Peter.
I see. As a present. Can you be sure that the helmets that were bought by Edward Alfred were those used in the robbery at Holmes and Holmes?
A helmet of the type sold by Mr. Bendick to Edward Alfred was found in Peter Alfred's lodgings, sir.
Do you produce that helmet?
I do.
Exhibit 3, Your Honour. Is this the helmet?
Yes, it is, sir.
Did you ask Peter Alfred to account for it?
Yes, sir. He said, it's mine, so what?
But did he say it was a present from his brother?
No, sir. I asked him where he got it, and he said, I can't remember.
Oh, how ungrateful of him. Did you suggest to him that this helmet had been worn during the robbery at Holmes and Holmes?
Yes, sir. I said to him, we know it was you. We've found traces of paint on this helmet that come from a doorway in the shop, and he said, pull the other one. I explained to him, sir, that this mark here had been chemically analysed, and the paint was identical to paint on the doorway to the inner office at Holmes and Holmes. We had examined the doorway, sir, and we found a corresponding mark on the door jamb, 5 foot 11 inches above the ground, and the mark was photographed.
Do you produce that photograph?
I do.
Exhibit 5, Your Honour. There are copies for the jury. Inspector, did you make any attempt to verify whether the mark on the door in this photograph could have been made by that helmet when worn by either of the accused?
Yes, sir. With Mr. Lowenthal's help and his description of the movements of the man who attacked him, we reconstructed the events using 2 policemen the same height as the accused, 6 foot and 6'3".
Yes. What conclusion did you come to?
Well, we found that the mark could very easily have been made had the helmet been worn by a man of 6 foot. The 2 marks were on a level to within an inch.
Yes. But what happened when the taller man wore this helmet?
Well, the marks were at quite a different level, sir. It proved difficult for the taller man to strike a blow with the back of his head at that height on the door jamb. He had to bend his knees considerably.
Now, Inspector, you are sure, are you, that the helmet would fit either of the accused, but in particular, Edward Alfred?
Yes, sir. It's a large size of helmet.
Have you ever seen him wearing this helmet?
No, sir.
Did you ever ask him to try it on?
I asked him, sir, but he refused. He said he was claustrophobic.
Claustrophobic? and works in a discotheque. To your knowledge, is his brother a motorcyclist?
The Vehicle and Driver Registration Centre at Swansea inform us, sir, that he's no licence to ride a motorcycle, and there's no evidence to suggest that he owns a motorcycle now or that he's ever owned one.
No. Thank you, Inspector.
According to Mr. Lowenthal, Inspector, it was the man with the gun who stood in the doorway keeping it open. Isn't that correct?
Yes, it is, sir.
Yes, and that was the same man who beat him down and kicked him. Isn't that what he told you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and on the basis of these experiments with constables of assorted heights, who do you say wore this helmet and made this mark?
Edward Alfred, sir.
It's the evidence of the height.
Amongst other evidence, yes.
When do you think this mark could have been made?
At any time during the robbery.
At any time? Well, to make such a mark, would a sharp collision be required?
It may be.
Yes, well, I should think it would. At what stage of the robbery might the man with the gun have struck the side of the door sharply with his head?
That's not for me to say, sir.
And I'll make a suggestion. It would quite naturally occur, wouldn't it, as he struck out? The blow which hit Mr. Lowenthal's head was, it is clear, a violent blow, and it would produce a violent jerk on the part of the person who delivered it. Is that right?
Quite likely, sir.
Yes, well, to deliver such a blow, a man might indeed flex his knees to add spring to the blow.
He might.
So I suggest to you that it is natural that he should. Now, you said, didn't you, that the taller man in your reconstruction had to bend his knees to make this mark?
Yes, sir.
Yes, in a manner perfectly consistent with that of a man striking a violent blow. It is hard to resist that that is when the helmet struck the doorway. Where'd you find this helmet?
In Peter Alfred's lodging, sir.
Yes, well then is it not reasonable to assume that it was the helmet that was worn by him?
Not necessarily, sir.
Not necessarily. Well, I'd have thought it was more than reasonable to assume that. There is the helmet found in Peter Alfred's lodging with the incriminating marks. And here is Peter Alfred, who confesses to his part in the robbery. Well, did you search for this other helmet?
Yes, sir.
Did you search Edward Alfred's house?
Yes, sir.
In his place of work or any other haunts?
We made very thorough searches, sir. We did not find the other helmet.
You did not find it. So you make the one helmet do double duty. You say it was worn by one brother, found in the possession of the other brother, was bought by the first, and then found its way from one to the other, inadvertently changing hands or heads, like some prop in pantomime. The fact is, officer, that as Peter Alfred has admitted, he wore this helmet at the robbery, and you have not found the other helmet because you have not found the man who wore it.
Have you any further questions from this witness, Mr. Harvester?
No, thank you, Your Honour.
Then thank you, Inspector Kavanagh. You may leave the witness box.
The jury in this case is composed of members of the general public. The Queen against Alfred and Alfred will be continued tomorrow in the Crown Court. Brothers Peter and Edward Alfred are charged with violent robbery from a Fulchester jeweller's shop and with conspiracy to rob. Edward Alfred has pleaded not guilty on both counts. Peter Alfred has pleaded not guilty to the charge of conspiring with his brother. Neither of the men who entered the jeweller's shop could be identified. Both were wearing crash helmets of a type that fully enveloped the face. Harold Bendick, a Liverpool motorcycle dealer, is giving evidence.
Could the witness be shown Exhibit 3, please? Is this one of the helmets which you sold? Is it the type, the model, and so on that you sold to one of the men in the dock?
Yeah, Sedali, see. Visor, smoke-tinted, definitely.
Yes. Now, can you see today in court the man to whom you sold those helmets?
Yeah, him, over there.
Well, the one on the left or one on the right?
The left.
That is Edward Alfred. Was there anything about this man that made you particularly remember him?
Well, he's what you might call a distinctive sort of bloke, you know.
Oh, you would say so, would you? In what way?
Yeah, well, when he came in, like, I thought, you know, I wouldn't want to upset him, like, you know, big fella.
Was there anything that he said that particularly stuck in your mind?
Yeah, well, I asked him, like, conversation, like, when he came in, what he was riding, what kind of bike, like. And he said, a big American job.
Did that strike you as curious?
Yeah, well, like, if you ask a motorcyclist what he's riding, like, he's always ready to talk about his bike. I mean, he'd say, like, so-and-so 500 or a Norton Dummy. I mean, he wouldn't just say, like, a big American job. He'd say, like, a Harley-Davidson 750.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
let's
indeed,
talk
indeed.
about...
Oh, but so what impression did this man leave you with?
Well, that he didn't know much about motorbikes. I mean, I assumed, like, that he bought a moped, like, and he was ashamed to admit it, you know, being a big fella, like, he'd look soft on a moped, you know. But people do these things, none of my business. I mean, he bought 2 helmets, 20 quid a piece, you know.
Oh, expensive things.
Yeah, well, I gave him the 2 for 36, actually.
Did he offer any explanation as to why he was buying these things?
No. Well, I mean, people don't like. I mean, they're crash helmets. That's why you wear them.
Yes, but did he suggest they were for anybody other than himself?
No.
No. And later on, did you get in touch with the police?
Yeah, I saw the program on the television telling about the robbery and asking if anybody had sold a couple of helmets like these and appealing for information, like. So I phoned up the number they gave you on the program. And then
as a result of that, what happened?
Well, I gave them a description of the bloke, and they asked me would I like to go down and see if I could identify him. I got down there and they had him in a lineup. So
Did you find it difficult to recognize the man?
No mistaking him.
Can you describe what the man you identified as Edward Alfred was wearing when you first saw him?
In the shop.
Yes.
Wearing a leather jacket.
Well, do you remember anything about this leather jacket, its colour, its style and so on?
No, well, it was like a leather jacket, you know. Smart enough, posh, you know. Well, I don't know how you describe it, really. Just
did it have pockets?
be funny if it didn't.
What I'm trying to establish is whether they were prominent pockets or not.
Well, they were pockets, you know. I mean, with the types with the flaps, you know, and the buttons.
Thank you. What colour was this jacket?
Either red or green.
Either red or green?
Yeah, well, you see, I'm colourblind, like red and green. It's the same thing to me. I was going to be an electrician, but that kind of knocked that on the head, you know what I mean?
Yes, well, very well, Mr. Bendick. You can't be precise about the colour, but well, perhaps you could tell us whether it was dark or light in tone.
Dark, definitely.
Well, it was a dark colour. Thank you. Now, did Mr. Alfred try on these helmets that he bought?
Yeah, he tried one on, yeah.
Did it fit?
Well, he seemed pleased with it, yeah.
Is the fit of one of these helmets important? I mean, to the motorcyclist?
Oh, yeah, highly important. I mean, they've got to be just right or they're terrible. Too loose and they're no good, too tight and they hit your head, you know.
And is it an easy matter to get the right fit?
Well, you can be lucky. Most people try a load of them, but it's not the size that counts, it's the way they fit the peculiarities of your head, the bump
Yes,
at the back,
I see.
the wide
But
side.
would you say it was a suitable thing to buy as a gift for someone?
No. Last thing in the world. They've got to be just right. I mean, the last thing you want is if you come off the helmet to be twisting around on your head, you know.
Yes, I can imagine. Of course, if one had no intention of riding a motorcycle, that wouldn't matter so much, would it? Were the helmets that you sold of the same size?
Identical, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Bendick.
Mr. Bendick, you say you're colour-blind.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so what colour do you see instead of red or green?
Grey, like.
So all you can say about this leather jacket is that it was dark in colour.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. So this jacket, if it is the same jacket, has been through the spectrum from dark brown through maroon to perhaps red or even green or grey. It's not your fault, Mr. Bendick.
Does Your Honour have any questions?
No. Thank you, Mr. Bendick. You may leave the witness box.
Ta.
You are Edward James Alfred.
Yes.
What is your address?
Talismara, Rainers Way, Liverpool 13.
Do you live there alone?
No, I live with my wife and I've got me mother and father there as well.
I see. Is it their house or yours?
It's mine.
I see, and they live with you.
Yes.
Does your brother live at the same address?
No.
Has he ever?
We haven't lived in the same house since I got married when I was 22. Till then we lived at home where we used to live in Old Swan.
And how old are you now?
31.
And how old is your brother?
21.
So there's 10 years between you. Would you say you enjoyed a close relationship with your brother?
Well, it depends what you mean by close. I mean, like you say, it's 10 years between us, isn't it? I mean, as a family, I'd say we was a close family, but as to us too, well, you can't be that close. I mean, I was married when he was still kicking tins in the street. But I've always taken an interest in him, like.
You mean as an elder brother?
The way you do, because my father hasn't always been so well.
Oh, you're saying that you took more of a paternal interest in your brother's welfare?
Well, sort of. Not altogether, but sort of.
Now, we've heard that your brother drives a lorry. In what line of business are you?
I manage a discotheque. I've, always been more interested in show business, really.
And has your brother ever told you where his ambitions lie?
He wants to start up in haulage, his own truck business.
Clearly a very different field. So if I may clarify, you are saying that although your family links are strong, you and your brother inhabit quite different spheres socially and professionally.
Yeah, that's right.
Were you ever aware that your brother was associating with criminals or men with criminal intentions?
No, like I say, I thought they were nice lads.
Did you become aware before your brother was arrested that he was involved in the robbery at Holmes and Holmes?
No, it came as a complete surprise to us that he'd been involved.
Yes, and yet according to the evidence, we have heard that you bought these helmets that were used in the robbery.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, I bought them for our Peter because he kept saying he was going to buy a motorbike.
Had he definitely said that he was going to buy one?
Yeah, it was in his mind, definitely.
Was there any reason that you bought them just at the time you did?
Well, I had a bit of spare cash, you know. I'd been to Haydock, had a good day, you know.
You're saying that you won a bit of money on the horses, is that it?
That's it.
But why this impulse to spend it on 2 crash helmets for your brother?
Well, I've said. I've been talking to our Peter about it. As a matter of fact, I was trying to talk him out of it.
Oh, you were concerned for his safety, then?
To an extent, yeah. I don't know what they see in motorbikes. I said to him, there's one thing to it. You can get one of those big helmets and cover your ugly mug. Joking with him. That's why it was a bit of a laugh when I gave him the helmets.
But why did you buy the 2 helmets?
Well, you've got it now, haven't you? It's the law, even on pillion. I said to him, the sort of girls you get off with, they'll need one of these and all. They'll need covering up like. Joking again.
Oh, yes, I can appreciate that. Tell me, Mr. Alfred, for what you've been saying, it's clear that you don't like motorcycles. Do you know anything about them?
Nothing.
Now, when you were buying these helmets, did Mr. Bendick try and engage you in conversation about motorcycles?
Yeah, he said what I was driving.
And you replied?
I said, a bloody big American job.
What did you mean by that?
Well, I drive an American car, Pontiac. So that's what I'm riding like.
Yes, well, it's been suggested that when you said that, you were implying that you did have a motorcycle and that you were being deliberately vague because, of course, you didn't and you didn't know anything about them. Is there any truth in that?
No. It didn't matter to me what he thought I was talking about because I didn't particularly want to talk to him.
Why not?
I just wanted to buy the helmets. I don't want to yak about motorbikes. I've got no interest.
Your remark, then, was meant to be off-putting to discourage conversation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on, shall we, to August 26th. It was the day of the robbery. Where were you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
I was at the massacre.
Massacre?
The discotheque where I manage.
I see. And where is the massacre?
In Gattaca. That's in Liverpool.
And what were you doing there?
I was waiting for a joiner. He was coming to fix a door.
And did he?
No. You know what they're like, these tradesmen.
Was there anyone else on the premises?
No, just me.
Is that a usual occurrence?
Well, nothing happens there in the day, like. We're only open at night.
Yes, but are you usually there during the day?
Well, sometimes. I mean, there's always work to be done, and then there's things like this store. But I'm there a good bit.
And when you are you usually there alone?
It's not unusual.
Now, you say the joiner did not arrive. Was there anyone who saw you in the discotheque at any time during that afternoon?
A girl called Angela Rawlinson. She arrived about 5. She was looking for a job. I told her to come and see me.
Yes, was this a definite appointment that you'd made with her?
No, I just told her to drop in. No definite time. She was lucky to catch me. I was just going.
So at the time of the robbery, you were at your place of work. And, as is not unusual, you were there alone. And there was nobody who saw you there until 5 o'clock. Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, do you have any idea how long it would take to get from Fulchester to your discotheque in Gattaca?
I've no idea. A fair while.
Do you think it could be done in under the hour?
I dare say. I don't know.
Well, I think we'll agree that it might be done. It may just be possible. The prosecution would have it that you took part in a violent robbery in Fulchester and then hurried back as fast as you possibly could to your place of work, where you had no definite appointments and you were not due to open for business. And on the second count, that you conspired to commit a robbery, that you omitted to conspire an alibi of any kind. Was there any such conspiracy?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Alfred.
Mr. Alfred, you describe yourself, I see, as a discotheque manager. What is a discotheque?
It's a place where young people go dancing, to records. There's a bar. As a matter of fact, there's 2 bars.
I see. Is the music very loud in this club?
It's quite loud, yeah.
And is it a popular place?
It's popular.
How many young people might be there at any one time, say on a Sunday night?
A couple of hundred.
Really? And the lights here, are they dim or bright or what?
Well, the lights are always changing colour and that, and they're bright in some parts and dim in the others. I'd call it low lighting. It's how they like it.
And how long have you been in this discotheque business?
5 or 6 years.
You started in what capacity?
Assistant manager.
What does that post entail?
Assisting the manager.
Please try not to be facetious.
Your Honour, clearly my client cannot see the relevance of all this, and nor can I.
Yes, I do hope it will all become clear, Mr. Harvester.
Oh, yes, Your Honour.
Oh, very well.
What are the normal duties of an assistant manager in a club such as you describe?
Well, there's what we call on the door and on the floor. On the door, you're checking the people and members as they come in, like, and keeping out drunks and undesirables.
I see. And on the floor?
On the floor, you just make sure there's no trouble and everybody's happy.
When you say trouble, do you mean fighting, that kind of trouble?
It can do, yeah. Any kind of trouble. Fighting, any sort of that behaviour. You want to keep it so people can enjoy themselves.
Yes, a very laudable aim. So when you say assistant manager, you mean what I believe is called, in common parlance, a bouncer.
Yeah?
What is meant by a bouncer, Mr. Alfred?
It's a fellow who persuades troublemakers to leave, that's all.
Yes, he ejects what you call drunks and undesirables, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Ejecting troublemakers and drunks from such a place is no job for a timid man, is it? You're not a timid man, are you, Mr. Alfred?
I wouldn't say so.
No, indeed, as you've risen to be a sort of senior bouncer.
Manager.
Well, you've risen to your present position because you've proved your worth in this business of ejecting drunks and undesirables, is that right?
All right. But there's more to it.
Well,
I mean...
You're understandably modest, Mr. Alfred. Let me put it to you this way, that by reason of your physique and no doubt your temperament, you excel in that tricky field of quelling drunken disturbances. Does that often involve violence, would you say?
Not if we can help it.
But does it ever?
You just showed them the door.
Oh, I see. I see. You approach the dissident elements and you ask them to leave, do you?
Yeah.
Well, perhaps you reason with them.
We try to be reasonable.
In a crowded place where the lights are dim, the music's very loud, you reason with them.
You can always point to the door.
Yes. But if these undesirables decline to follow your advice, what then?
All right, you put them out.
And that might involve violence.
Well, there's always some people who are willing to start a fight.
And people like you to finish it, am I right?
All right.
Yeah, so it's fair to say that you're a man capable of and accustomed to using a degree of violence.
Your Honour, I must object. My client has explained his duties and the milieu in which he performs them. He does not manage the pump room in Bath or Cheltenham, but a discotheque in Liverpool, though that does not make him a man of violence.
No, I think it may well, as counsel says, accustom him to a certain amount of violence. I mean, after all, there are places of entertainment where bouncers are not deemed necessary. And presumably experience has dictated otherwise in these dancing clubs.
With respect, Your Honour, if there were a disturbance in this court, you might order certain people to be removed, and the police or ushers would do it. Unruly members of Parliament may be forcibly removed by the Sergeant-at-Arms, but that does not make him a man of violence. Nor, I hope, are we saying that the police or ushers are.
Well, then, to what word or phrase of Mr. Harvester's are you objecting?
Well, to the words accustomed to using a degree of violence.
Yes, well, I think on the basis of the evidence, that is a fair statement, Mr. O'Connor, provided it doesn't go any further. What I am saying, members of the jury, is that while it may be fair to say of Mr. Alfred that he is accustomed to a certain amount of violence, that does not mean you should take it that he is a man of violence. After all, as the defence has pointed out, quite blameless people, the police and others, are accustomed to a certain amount of violence.
I am indebted to Your Honour.
Yes, do go on, Mr. Harvester.
Thank you, Your Honour. Mr. Alfred, when was it that your brother mentioned this idea of buying a motorcycle?
Well, a few times.
Oh, it cropped up on several occasions, did it?
Yeah.
Where did these conversations take place?
I can't remember exactly.
Oh, come. In what places did you and your brother meet?
Well, he came to the massacre once or twice.
Yes, you described it as a club. Was he a member?
He was a non-member through me.
Oh, I see. Did he come to the club alone?
Well, he came with a couple of mates, a few girls sometimes. Just a night out, you know.
You talked to him there, did you? Isn't that rather difficult, what with the level of the noise and so on?
You get used to it. You can talk in the bar.
Do you have an office on the premises?
Yes.
Is it quieter there?
Quiet enough.
Did you ever go there to talk?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. Did your brother ever go into your office?
He might have done, yeah.
No, I mean to talk to you about anything, to see how you were. Family business, anything.
He might have done. I don't particularly remember.
Did he bring his friends into your office?
No, definitely not. We don't encourage the clientele into the office.
But your brother, you allowed him in?
Well, all right, he's my brother.
So you had several conversations at different times in which the matter of the motorcycle was raised. Did all these conversations take place in this club which you managed, and of which he was an honorary member?
Well, he came round to our place as well. He came to see me mum and dad as much as anything.
At your home?
He could have mentioned it then. I don't know. I wasn't taking notes.
Does he come regularly to your home?
Not regularly, no.
Frequently, then?
Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, he came to see me mum and dad like any son would.
Yes, quite. And yet it's been suggested here that you and he existed in quite different worlds, socially and professionally.
That's right.
But it's not right, is it? He came to your club, not once, but several times at least. He talked to you there, in the bar, perhaps in your office, to which he had a privileged entree. He didn't come alone, he came with friends. He brought young ladies. He was at least a reasonably frequent visitor to your home.
Well, he's me brother.
Yes. And the relationship between the two of you is obviously a good deal closer than you've claimed. When did you give him these helmets?
I don't remember exactly.
Well, where were you when you handed them over?
I think we were at the club.
You were in the club, right. Now, you bought them on the 21st, Thursday. The robbery occurred on the 26th, Tuesday. Was it then over that weekend that you gave them to him?
I think so.
Saturday, was it, or Sunday that he came to your club?
I think it was Sunday.
So, Sunday. You presented your gift to your brother on the Sunday night. At what time?
I can't remember exactly.
Your memory is remarkably vague over this weekend.
Well, I'm very busy over weekend.
But not too busy to put aside time to give your brother these helmets. Did you hand them to him in the bar, on the dance floor, was it?
I don't remember exactly.
Was it in your office, then? Is that where it was?
It may have been.
You don't remember. You know, I find these helmets remarkably startling objects. A man with two of them would cut a conspicuous figure in a crowded dancing club, wouldn't he? Were there any witnesses to the presentation of your gift?
Not that I know of.
No witnesses in a crowded discotheque where there were several hundred people present. I find that remarkable. Unless, of course, it was in your office that you handed them over.
Yeah, I think it was the office.
Oh, it may well have been, mayn't it? Yes. Were the two of you alone at the time?
Well, if it was in the office, we would have been, yeah, probably.
Oh, that is a pity, isn't it? I seem to remember that you made some comments, some witticisms about your brother's appearance. It's a shame there wasn't an audience there to enjoy them. Was there no one else in the office with you?
No.
No, your brother came alone. No young lady?
I think he was on his own.
He wasn't with his mates on this occasion.
Not as I remember.
But you said he usually came with a number of friends.
Well, not this particular night.
I see, I see. So he came alone, and you drew him aside at some point. You took him into the bar, perhaps into your office, and somewhere where you weren't overlooked, and you gave him these helmets. Is that right?
Well, it wasn't like that, now was it? I mean, you're making it sound ridiculous.
But it does sound ridiculous, doesn't it? Unless, of course, you had some reason to conduct this business privately. And I suggest you did have a reason, didn't you?
No.
I suggest that reason is quite an obvious one. That you bought these helmets with the sole intention of using them while effecting a robbery. That you gave one or both of them to your brother that Sunday night in the privacy of your office at the massacre, and that on that occasion you were both party to a conspiracy to rob Holmes and Holmes.
Well, it's just not true.
In that robbery, it was you who played the leading part. You were the man in the leather jacket. You had the gun. You struck and kicked Mr. Lowenthal.
He's told you that was him. He's admitted it.
But why? Why has he admitted it?
Because he got
Why
caught
has
with
he
the...
confessed to so much, Mr. Alfred?
Because he was caught with the stuff.
Yes, but that doesn't mean to say that he played the leading role, that he played the violent role. He was a planner, the leader, the gunman, or...
He was if he says he was.
No, Mr. Alfred. He says it because you were all these things. You, his elder brother, in a family of, according to you, close ties and loyalties. You, who wouldn't be in this dock now, perhaps, but for his amateurishness in keeping that helmet and in failing to keep his cool at Harwich. Isn't he, in fact, offering to serve a prison sentence in your place?
Why should he?
Yes, why should he do that?
Oh, Your Honour, I must object to these insinuations. They're open to all sorts of interpretations.
Yes, do be plain, Mr. Harvester.
Yes, I would have been, Your Honour, if my learned friend hadn't interrupted. The fact is that your wife is pregnant, isn't she?
Yeah.
With your first child?
Yeah?
And neither you nor your brother want your child to be born whilst you're in prison. Thank you, Mr. Alfred.
The jury in this case is composed of members of the general public. The Queen against Alfred and Alfred will be concluded tomorrow in the Crown Court. The brothers Peter and Edward Alfred are charged with a violent robbery at a Fulchester jeweller's shop and with conspiracy to rob. Edward Alfred has pleaded not guilty to both charges. Peter Alfred pleaded guilty to the charge of robbery, but not guilty to the charge of conspiring with his brother. Neither of the men who entered the jeweller's shop could be recognized. Both were wearing crash helmets of a type that enveloped the face completely. Peter Alfred has been called to give his evidence. The trial is in its third day.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Peter Thomas Alfred,
Yeah.
of Flat 2, 27B, Watson Road, Sefton Park, Liverpool.
Not anymore, I'm not, no.
I'm sorry?
To give me notice to quit, I believe.
Yes, well, that was your address until recently, I believe.
Oh, till I was done, yeah. They said they'd send me letters on to the Nick.
Mr. Alfred, perhaps it is a family trait, but your brother's comments were occasionally whimsical. It's not in your interests.
Yeah, okay.
And I will not tolerate it. I consider it my prerogative to supply the necessary leavening. That is a privilege I shall guard jealously.
So I understand Your Honour perfectly. Let us make things quite clear, Mr. Alfred. You plead guilty to the first charge, that of robbery.
Yeah.
So you admit that you did take part in the robbery at Holmes and Holmes, and that you tried to remove the proceeds from this country aboard a lorry and so on.
Yeah.
And you plead not guilty to the second charge. You say that you did not conspire with your brother to rob Holmes and Holmes.
That's right, yeah.
Now, how many people were involved in the robbery?
3.
Including yourself?
Me and 2 other fellas, yeah.
Now, you have declined to name the other 2. Why is that?
Because they do me.
They would do you harm?
You're too right, they would, yeah.
Now, are these 2 men known to your brother?
No.
Have they ever been to your brother's discotheque? Did you ever meet them there?
Oh, no, I wouldn't want them to go to my brother's place, you know. I wouldn't want them to be seen there.
Why not?
Because he wouldn't approve of them.
I see. Now, during the course of the robbery, did you carry a gun?
Yeah, it wasn't real, though.
Wasn't real? Was it a toy?
No, it was one of these, what they call a replica, you know.
A model of a gun, do you mean?
Yeah.
Was it a realistic model?
Oh, yeah, they look dead real, you know. You wouldn't know them.
And did you strike Mr. Lowenthal with this gun?
Yeah.
A heavy blow?
No.
Well, Mr. Lowenthal describes it as a heavy blow.
Well, yeah, I mean, the gun was heavy, yeah. But I didn't want to open his head, did I? I wanted him to open the safe.
You kicked him?
Because he wouldn't.
Now, what were you wearing at the time of the robbery?
Leather jacket.
Now, your brother also owns a leather jacket, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Are the 2 jackets similar?
No, I wouldn't say so. Not to me, they're not, no.
But are they similar in colour, for instance?
No.
What colour is your jacket?
Brown, dark brown.
Now, the prosecution will have it that you were not the man with the gun. And because the man with the gun was wearing a leather jacket and your brother also owns a leather jacket, the man with the gun and your brother were one and the same. Now, what do you have to say to that?
Well, it's just a load of rubbish, isn't it? I mean, just because he's got a leather jacket.
Could you lift up the leather jacket, please? Your Honour, I should like to enter this leather jacket as an exhibit.
I have no objection, Your Honour.
Oh, very well. That becomes Exhibit 6, is that right?
Would you show it to the witness, please? Mr. Alfred, is this your leather jacket?
Yeah.
Is it the leather jacket that you wore during the robbery at Holmes and Holmes?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Alfred, did you ever talk to your brother about buying a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Was it your serious intention to buy a motorcycle?
Oh, yeah.
Now, were you surprised when your brother bought you these helmets?
No, not really, no.
Why not really?
Well, you know, it was typical, the sort of thing he'd do.
Did he often make you gifts?
Oh, yeah. He gave me man presents all the time, you know. And he gave me Dad a lighter once, but he couldn't use it, you know, because his bronchitis is bad. But he uses it to light other people's cigarettes now, you know.
So it seems that your brother enjoys giving presents.
Oh, yeah, he does. He makes him feel like Father Christmas.
Yes, well, when you were a young boy and he was a grown man, did he give you Christmas presents and so on?
Well, it's like I say, yeah. I mean, with my dad being bad and that, he didn't work for years. He was always already.
Yes, you're saying that such a gift was entirely within your brother's character.
Yeah.
Now, when did you first consider using these helmets in the robbery?
Well, I don't know exactly, you know. Just sort of come into my mind, like somebody said my own mother wouldn't recognise me in one of them. Just went on from there, you know.
Yes, now, did you ever at any time mention this idea to your brother?
No, never. He never knew nothing about it.
So now, when you were arrested, and for some time afterwards, you declined to make any statement to the police. What made you change your mind?
Oh, it was when they dragged Eddie into it.
You mean when your brother was arrested?
Yeah.
And why did that cause you to change your mind?
Well, you know, they're just trying to do him, aren't they? And he was never anywhere near it.
Did you hear about the circumstances that led up to your brother's arrest?
Yeah, the solicitor told us. I said to him, you know, don't be ridiculous. Just because he bought the helmets. I realised then, you know.
You realised what?
Well, that I should never have wore it, like, you know. I didn't think of it, dragging him in like that, getting him involved. I wouldn't have done it had I wore a sock or something like that, you know.
Yes, and when you had realised that you'd unwittingly involved your brother, what did you do then?
Oh, well, I told him then, you know, I said, don't be daft, I'll give you the cough. I'll make a confession, like.
And did you communicate with your brother before you did so?
How could I? I was in custody.
Through your solicitor or a visitor?
No, I just, like, thought about it overnight, like, and it was obvious to me that I had to tell them. It was just the way I felt.
What were your feelings when you made this decision?
Well, you know, it was just ridiculous.
Are you saying that you were upset?
Yeah, it made me mad, you know. Indignant I was, that was it, indignant.
Thank you, Mr. Alfred.
Mr. Alfred, did you go to your brother's discotheque on the 24th of August last, the Sunday before the robbery?
Yeah.
Was that where and when your brother produced the helmets?
Oh, you mean was that when he gave them to us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you go there alone?
Yeah.
Did you often go there alone?
Not often, you know, just sometimes. You go there to pick someone up, don't you?
On the chance of meeting someone. I take it you mean a girl.
Well, I don't know about you, but I mean a girl, yeah.
And were you successful? Did you leave with a young lady?
No.
Oh, why was that?
Maybe I didn't try hard enough.
Oh, no, I'd suggest that you didn't try at all. What happened between you and your brother?
Well, I was having a drink, and I was in the upstairs bar, and he come up to us and he said, you know, come in the back, I've got something for you after. And it was these helmets, like,
Did you go into his office immediately he said this to you?
No, it was after a while.
How long did you spend in his office?
I don't know, we were talking.
What about?
All sorts, I don't know.
About the robbery you were planning?
No.
This was 2 days before the robbery. It must have been in your mind at the time.
Yeah?
But you didn't talk about it to your brother?
No.
Were you alone in the office?
Yeah?
Then who was it who said your own mother wouldn't recognize you in one of those things?
I can't remember.
You sure it wasn't your brother?
No, it wasn't my brother. It wasn't said then. Nobody said it then.
Then who did say it?
I've told you, you know, I
That
don't...
you don't remember, yes. But according to you, this was the moment of inspiration, when you had the idea to use these things to conceal your identity. If it was said, and I'm sure it was said, then wasn't it said by someone who knew very well what you planned to use those for?
It's just a thing like you'd say,
Did
you know.
you perhaps say it to your brother?
No, I never said it. I never said it to Eddie. I never said it to no one. Nobody said it then.
Did you try one of these helmets on at the time?
I might have.
Yes, well, surely you did. If it was, as you say, a present from your brother, it would have been churlish of you not to have done so.
Well...
Did you try it on?
All right, yeah.
And isn't that just the time that such a comment would have been made about your mother not recognizing you? By you, or by your brother, or by someone else who was in the office at the time?
No, there was nobody
Somebody
else in the
who was in that office with you and was later involved in that robbery, isn't that right?
There was nobody else in the office.
There were at least 3 involved in this robbery, you said?
Oh, well, I meant, you know, there was nobody else in the office.
Why did your brother choose helmets with smoke-tinted visors?
I don't know, ask him.
Oh, yes, it was silly of me not to. Surely it was these darkened visors that absolutely ensured that your mother wouldn't recognize you.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes, and it was your brother who made a point of buying them. He particularly chose darkened visors.
Maybe he liked the look of them.
And I'm sure you did. I'm sure you both did. And so did whoever else was in that office with you. And I put it to you that that comment about mothers not recognizing you was an expression of satisfaction. That you thought those helmets with their darkened visors very fit for their purpose. And everybody in that office knew perfectly well what the purpose was.
Mr. Harvester, do you have any further questions of this witness?
I certainly do, Your Honor.
Very well. I think perhaps, Mr. Alfred, I should remind you you're still under oath.
Mr. Alfred, what do you weigh?
Sorry?
What do you weigh?
11 stone, 3 or 4 pounds, something like that.
Well, that's not particularly heavy. Mr. Lowenthal described being threatened, struck and kicked by a heavily built man. That wasn't you, was it?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
Quite tall, I suppose.
It's about 6'3", yes?
About.
From the police evidence that we've heard, it's clear that this mark on the door jamb was made by that helmet on the head of somewhat less than 6'3".
Well, I can bend my head down, can't I?
But that man wasn't you, was it?
Yeah.
In Mr. Lowenthal's account, the man with the gun played the leading role, the commanding role. That man was not you, was it?
Yeah.
Did you plan this robbery as well?
Yeah.
Your idea in the first place?
Yes.
Then why wasn't it you who bought those helmets?
Because they were just an idea after.
No, so you're saying that you planned the robbery, you took the lead in its execution, and you assaulted Mr. Lowenthal in addition to putting on weight, especially for the occasion. Do you drive, Mr. Alfred? Well, yes, of course you do, don't you? You're a professional driver.
Yes.
Do you own a car?
Yeah.
What kind of car?
TR4.
It's a sports car, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're a keen driver, are you?
If you like, yeah.
A good driver?
Not bad.
A fast driver?
Yeah, I can drive, all right?
What kind of car was used in the getaway from Holmes and Holmes?
3-litre Ford.
Manual or automatic?
I wouldn't know.
But you should, shouldn't you? Didn't you drive it?
No.
Oh, wasn't that a waste of your talents?
There's plenty you can drive, you know.
Do you have any hobbies?
No. Well, you know, not what you'd like call hobbies.
Well, I thought you were a member of the South Lancashire Motor Club.
Well, I have been in the past, yeah.
And what do members of the South Lancashire Motor Club do?
They're interested in cars.
Do they hold competitions?
Yeah, they have sort of rallies, yeah.
Have you ever taken part in these rallies?
I've been in a few.
Yes, it is, after all, a matter of record. Did you do well? I believe you did.
Not bad.
Could I suggest that you've entered 8, been placed in the first 3 5 times, winning twice?
All right, yeah.
Your job in this robbery was to drive the car, wasn't it?
No.
And you didn't wear a crash helmet because you were outside the shop all the time, isn't that right?
No.
You were perhaps wearing a leather jacket, yes, but it is not the leather jacket seen or described by Mr. Lowenthal.
No.
No?
I mean, yeah, you know, I was wearing it. He saw me in it.
Why did you keep the helmet?
To wear on a motorbike.
Oh, come. I think we can dispense with this motorcycle. I put it to you that the hypothetical motorcycle was conjured up to explain why your brother bought 2 helmets. He might have bought you 1 for your motor rallying, but hardly 2. So this motorcycle was the ingenious solution, isn't that right?
No.
So why did you keep the helmet?
It's a perfectly good helmet.
Oh, not because it had sentimental value. As a gift from your brother, the family Father Christmas? That your brother should be so generous and you so thankless. What happened to the other one?
Well, the other fellow's got it, I suppose.
Oh, yes, this other fellow in the shop. Yes. You kept the one used by your brother, didn't you?
By me, it was
because
used.
you didn't want to throw it away, is that right?
Well, I never thought of it dragging him in, you know.
Oh, yes, that's right. You said you felt indignant about it. Wasn't that it?
Yeah.
Yes, wouldn't foolish be a better word?
No.
Somewhat abashed by your own folly. Perhaps it was even stronger than that. Perhaps you felt guilty about your own folly. Was that it? That you had, for some silly reason, held on to a piece of evidence that could incriminate your brother.
Well, I felt bad about it, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, perhaps you felt bad about that and about the fact that it was throughout this whole affair your amateurishness and your slip-ups and failures which led to your detection. Isn't that right?
No.
Didn't you come close to letting the side down? Just as you let the side down later at Harwich, where your nervousness gave the whole show away. I suggest to you that your sense of shame and, yes, your loyalty to your elder brother, I suggest these were the considerations that have led to this plea of guilty. And your attempt to shield your elder brother. Isn't that right?
Oh, you people, you know, you can just twist anything, can't you?
When was it that you heard your brother's wife was pregnant?
I can't remember.
Oh, come. That's an important piece of family news. Very recent, isn't it?
Fairly.
The news reached you when you were in custody?
It might have, I suppose,
On
yeah.
remand?
Probably.
And didn't that have something to do with it? With tipping your decision to make this confession?
No. No, it just sort of come into my mind, like, you know, that he shouldn't be sent down for something what he never done.
You feared that his child might well be at school by the time he was released. should he be found guilty and sent to prison. Isn't that right?
Well, it was part of it, yeah, of course.
Well, I suppose it could hardly have escaped your consideration. Thank you, Mr. Alfred.
Mr. Alfred, something of an issue has been made of Mr. Lowenthal's impression of the man who attacked him. You attacked him, you say. Was he very frightened?
Yeah, he was scared. He was very frightened, yeah.
Naturally enough. Now, with your honour's permission, I will ask Mr. Alfred to put on his leather jacket and the helmet. To judge Mr. Lowenthal's impression, I think we should see what he saw.
Very well.
So, could the witness be given his jacket, please? Now, this is the man as Mr. Lowenthal saw him, members of the jury. I think it's obvious that he could be described as a large, powerfully built man, especially by one who was thoroughly terrified of him at the time.
Your Honour, I must object insofar as this witness is not dressed as Mr. Lowenthal described. That is not the leather jacket which Mr. Lowenthal described.
I suggest the general effect will be the same in the other jacket, Your Honour.
But I should very much like to see this witness in the alternative ensemble, Your Honour. And I should like to recall Mr. Lowenthal to hear his impressions.
Would you have any objections to that, Mr. O'Connor?
Yes, I would, Your Honour. I'm concerned merely to show what kind of an impression the figure in the shop might have made. What my learned friend suggests might be taken quite wrongly as some kind of identification, which, of course it cannot be.
It's a very fine distinction, but I think, Mr. Harvest, I am inclined to agree.
As Your Honour pleases.
I thank Your Honour. Now, as you can see, members of the jury, Mr. Alfred cuts a rather disconcerting sort of figure dressed up in this way. Was that another reason for using these helmets, Mr. Alfred?
What was what?
The fact that these helmets are somewhat daunting, was that another reason for using them?
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, they offer protection from a blow. Did that occur to you?
Well, yeah, you're all right in one of these, aren't you? You know, if somebody has a go at you, like.
Precisely. And I think, members of the jury, you can see to what an extent these helmets muffle a man's voice. Could you swear that the voice that you've just heard, if you didn't know already, was a voice with a Liverpool accent? Take it off now, Mr. Alfred. Now, Mr. Alfred, you tell us that you conceived the plan of the robbery in the first place. Is that right?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to rob Holmes and Holmes? I mean, why that jewellery shop in particular?
Well, I don't know, really. You know, it just sort of come together in my mind, like.
So what sort of things made it come into your mind?
Well, it's the new sort of one-way system that they've got, you know. They haven't thought about it. It gives you a perfect getaway.
And when did this thought occur to you?
Well, I go to Fulchester, you know, and I've been passing through and just looking at it like.
So it was in the course of your work?
Yeah.
And was the idea entirely yours?
Yeah.
Was there any reason for you to leave the planning to anyone else?
No.
Any reason that you should have relegated yourself to being the driver, as the prosecution suggests?
Why should I? You know, it was me that worked it out.
Yes, you've already made that clear. Why did you decide to take the proceeds out of the country?
Oh, well, you know, you're better off in Holland or Germany or somewhere like that. Anywhere, really. You know, it's because of the pound. You're better off in guilders.
Sadly, it may be true. But how was it that you were aware of this?
Well, I met a man who came from Rotterdam, you know, and he said he had a ready market for it.
Do you go regularly to Rotterdam?
Yeah.
So, not only did you see the opportunity on the streets of Fulchester, but you also had, through your work, an outlet for the proceeds if you could get them there. And those are the things that led you to attempt the robbery. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It's been suggested by the prosecution that you didn't plan all this, but that your brother did. And that it is also suggested that your brother and you got together and concocted all sorts of other details. When were you arrested?
Wednesday in Harwich.
And when were you brought from Harwich?
Thursday.
And when did you make your statement?
Um,
Yes, so it was the 4th of September, was it not? Nearly a week later.
yeah.
Were you in custody all that time?
Yeah?
You were not at any time out on bail?
You're joking, aren't you?
Did you see your brother at any time during that week?
No. Oh, well, I heard, like, on the Wednesday that he'd been arrested, you know.
Well, who did you see during that week?
Only the solicitor.
Did you see him frequently?
Just the once, you know, when I went down on remand.
So there had been no opportunity for collusion between you, between the time you were arrested and the time that you made your complete confession?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Alfred.
Robbery is theft associated with violence against a person. Now, certainly in this case there was robbery. What is at issue is whether Edward Alfred was one of the robbers. The next count is one of conspiracy to rob. Now, a conspiracy is a criminal agreement between two or more persons. In this case, it is alleged that Peter and Edward Alfred conspired together to commit this robbery. The suggestion is that even if Edward Alfred did not take part in the robbery, he did take part in the planning of it. The vital words are conspired together, because unless you are satisfied of that, then the two accused must both be acquitted. Remember that unless you are satisfied of guilt beyond all reasonable doubt, you must acquit. Remember also that your verdict must be unanimous. Will you please now retire and consider your verdict?
Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Please answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached verdicts on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
On the first count, robbery, do you find the defendant, Edward Alfred, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
On the second count, conspiracy to rob, do you find the defendant, Edward Alfred, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And on that count, do you find Peter Alfred guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Have you prepared a record of the antecedents of the defendant, Edward Alfred?
I have, sir. Edward Alfred is known to the police. He has previous convictions for assault, demanding money with menaces, for which he served 8 months in jail.
Edward
2
Alfred,
charges of grievous
guilty of
bodily
robbery
harm.
and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, was also sentenced to 5 years to run concurrently with the first sentence for conspiracy. Peter Alfred had pleaded guilty on the first count and was given a sentence of 3 years imprisonment. On the charge of conspiracy, he was also sentenced to 12 months imprisonment to run concurrently with the first sentence.